Welcome to Tina Tries. Thanks so much for joining me. With Halloween creeping up really quickly here, I figured it was the perfect time to talk about cosplay. Whether you're gearing up for a spooky Halloween party or you're getting ready for a Comic-Con, I've got 3 beginner-friendly helmets to help you on your cosplay journey. I know I'm a little late to the party for these helmets, but they are really cool. And I'm gonna use these as building blocks to do even bigger, badder helmets in the future. Separate builds, with each helmet increasing in complexity as we go. All of today's files are by the amazing Budwin and can be found on MakerWorld. Budwin is a helmet designing guru with a wide range. He does everything from Batman to Iron Man and everything in between. His models are easy to print and assemble, so I highly recommend you check out his page. All 3 of these builds can be assembled straight off of the printer bed with no post-processing other than putting in magnets. The 3rd helmet will require an AMS if you want to get the most out of that build. Let's get to it. So this is my first build of the day. Just to clarify something real quick, technically these are helmets because they're made out of plastic, but they are the characters' masks, so I will likely be referring to them interchangeably as helmets and masks. This one is, of course, an amazing Deadpool mask. In terms of difficulty, I am going to give this one a level 1 for mask making. This one is really easy. It comes straight off of the printer bed in all of these pieces. This right here is the biggest connected piece. This attaches completely by magnets. Comes straight off the printer bed, and you put the magnets in, get them in the right orientation, and everything should just snap together beautifully. This mask is perfect for beginners who aren't ready to take the plunge of putting an entire helmet on the print bed and having it run for more than 24 hours. This one prints in several smaller pieces, and the total print time for this one is about 50 hours if you print out all of the different eyes. This file has an amazing texture on it when it's printed. It looks very much like his costume in the 3rd Deadpool movie. And this is great because it hides the layer lines on this. So normally you'll have some circles on the top or whichever orientation you have it in. You don't need to worry about smoothing out the layer lines in your printing program or doing any post-processing to get rid of those layer lines, because this texture masks it perfectly. When you're printing this, it orients on the print bed like this. What I did was I used normal tree supports on the inside here. So it built with the normal tree supports underneath. I did not use slim tree supports because I wanted to minimize stringing on the inside of the helmet. So the more support structure that you have underneath, the less you're gonna get this stringing on the inside of your helmet. The eyes that come with this file have all these little holes in them. They're perforated so that when you're wearing it, you can actually see through the eyes, which is great. You pop them in, you glue them down, let them dry, and then you are done with that part. As you can see, I have already put some of the magnets onto this mask because nobody wants to watch me glue magnets down for an hour. I will show you the process of gluing in some of the magnets just to demonstrate how it's done. I am gonna leave this part together so that I have the outline of the eye. I do have some magnets that need to be put in here. And then I'm gonna put the magnets in the back of the eyes here, and then I can put everything together and show you how it looks. This one uses 8 by 2 millimeter magnets, so they're a pretty good size, and they're fairly strong. It will keep your helmet together even if you're walking around wearing it. You just add some glue, drop in your magnet, add the activator spray, and that one's done. For this one, I'm using the miter apple. These parts that I'm adding glue to are on the inside of the mask, so I'm not worried about getting the lines streaking from the activator spray. These do drop right in, they fit perfectly, and they are flush with the helmet so that you don't need to worry about them making the pieces pop out at all. They'll still remain lined up really well. I'm gonna do the other side of the front here. All of the magnets are in the main part of the helmet. I'm going to put the sides back on because I need to make sure that my magnets for each of the eyes is in the right orientation. This eye is gonna go here. So as I'm working, I'm gonna go counterclockwise on the model, and I'm gonna go clockwise on my piece to put the magnets in matching up. What I usually do is I see which direction they stick to the helmet on. Then I put glue on my piece, slide these off of here because that was matched up here. That's the side that I want facing out. So I'll slide that off and put it in there, and then I know that it's in the right orientation. And again, I'm working counterclockwise on my mask, which means I'm working clockwise on the eyepiece. And there we have one eye, and it sticks on perfectly. The beauty of the miter apple spray is that you don't have to wait for it to dry. The activator makes it harden instantly, so I don't need to worry about the magnets pulling out when I try it after I'm done. So I'm going to continue with these eyes, his left eye, putting the magnets in, and then I will do the right eyes. There's our second eye. And there we have the final left eye. Now on to the right. And there we have our first right eye. There we have our second right eye. And there we have our third right eye. So I already showed that the sides snap right on and off with the magnets. The back of the helmet is the same. Snaps right on. And here is my favorite part of this helmet. We have traditional Deadpool, or you can swap them out with any of the others to give him different expressions. We have surprised Deadpool, that's like super happy Deadpool, or you can mix and match them like so. Super cute, I love this. So yeah, you can have him set up however you want him to look. You can even keep changing his expressions if you're gonna just put it on display, or if you're wearing it as a costume, you can change your expressions once in a while. Super cute. Really easy, just takes a lot of magnets and a lot of patience gluing them all in, and you're probably gonna get a lot of glue on your fingers, but it's worth it because this is amazing. One thing I should probably mention, if you are not planning on wearing this, you can skip the magnets and just glue all of the pieces of the mask together, but I still recommend putting the magnets in the eyes because who doesn't want to change his expression once in a while? For build 2, we are going to talk about this spectacular Wolverine mask. This helmet is also put together by magnets. I already have put all of the magnets into this one because nobody wants to watch me gluing magnets for 3 hours. This helmet doesn't print in as many pieces as the Deadpool one did. So we have the nose piece. The helmet prints pretty much in one piece, aside from the nose. And each of the fins prints in 2 pieces. This piece here prints separately from the top part of the fin, and then you can put magnets here, or you can glue it in place depending on your preference. I'm not sure why you would ever want to remove this from the helmet, so in my case I just glued it directly down so that it doesn't come off. The eyes on this are basically the same as the ones on the Deadpool mask. They are perforated so that you can see through them, and they print and they pop right in, and you glue them down and you're done with those eyes. So let's assemble this one. It's super quick. And there we have it. That is it for this helmet. This is straight off of the printer bed. No post-processing. I printed it in black and yellow. I put the magnets in, I glued the eyes in, and that is it. Just like on the Deadpool helmet, this one also has an amazing texture to it. So you don't need to worry about the layer lines showing up here. This texture hides them beautifully. Again, I used the regular tree supports on the inside of the big helmet piece to keep the stringing in the top of the helmet from being too bad. And it also helps to reduce the layer lines on the top. This one takes about 43 hours to print all of the pieces. The fun thing about this mask is that it is extremely customizable, and it is really easy to jazz this up. You really only need to print the base helmet once, and you can print as many fins as you want. I will show you. So instead of doing the kind of classic black and yellow, I wanted to go with a more comic book accurate. So on this one, I used a blue-black PLA, and it kind of changes colors a little bit depending on the angle that you're looking at. And if you put all of your magnets in correctly, it is super easy to change out the look of your mask. So now I have a more comic accurate look for Wolverine. It's really easy. You just print out the fins in whatever color that you want, put the magnets in, and you have a completely different look. You can also texturize. So for this helmet, I actually glued this one together because this is just a display piece. I wanted this to have kind of a leather look to it. So I got some Flex Seal spray, and I sprayed these black fins down with the Flex Seal, and it gave it this beautiful, almost leather-like texture. It was really easy. Take it outside, spray it with Flex Seal, a couple of coats, put the magnets in, and there you go. You have a leathery looking Wolverine. And just to show another variant, I printed an X-Force version of Wolverine in gray PLA with the black fins, but this guy is missing his characteristic red eyes. I am going to show you a method for jazzing up his eyes. So I have this red automotive tint for windows. It is a mirror finish, and it is very shiny. However, you can see through it very well because it's just tint for the inside of your car windows. I am going to cut out some eyes here and glue those in. We'll see how that looks. First, I'm gonna cut out a couple of rectangles. So I don't want this gray side pointing out. I want the very shiny red pointing out. I'm gonna cut out a rough eye shape here. Trim it down a little bit more. glue gun to warm up here. Here we go. So I cut out the eye. I am making sure that I am holding it over the entire eye opening here. And then I am just going to hot glue it down. This is a low temperature hot glue gun because I don't want to melt this film. And there we have one eye. Let's move on to this second eye. I kind of want to do the same thing where it's very close to what it needs to be with a little bit of overhang. And there we have our second eye. I think those look really cool. Let's see what it looks like on the helmet. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. So yeah, you can change the eyes, you can add paint, you can change filaments, you can print it in whatever colors you want. There are all kinds of ways to step up this helmet. This is such a great, versatile design. I really like how that one came out. Very cool. So that is our Wolverine helmet. Build number 3, it's not really a build. This one's already all put together. But I am still going to talk about this beautiful Spider-Man mask. This mask is well over 35 hours straight of printing. So the red helmet part pretty much prints in one piece. There is only this little back panel of these 4 patches here that pulls off if you want to wear this mask. In my case, this is just going to be for display, so I glued this piece into place. But it does come off if you want to wear it. The rest of the red prints in one go. You want to use the tree supports, the normal ones, not the skinny ones, to minimize any stringing inside of the helmet and also to minimize the layer lines on the top. But again, this one is also textured, so it hides any layer lines beautifully. The eyes print in 2 separate pieces, the whites and then the black outlines. Again, these eyes are perforated so that you can see through them. These eyes are glued into place. There's no magnets here. The only magnets that you're going to have on this helmet are on this back panel if you plan on wearing it. It's simple in terms of assembly. However, this print was done with an AMS. If you have an AMS, that is definitely the way to go on this one, because it will fill in the black lines here as it prints and you won't have to do it in post. If you don't have an AMS, you can still print this helmet in solid red and then you can paint the lines in. If you have an H series printer with a dual extruder, you are in even more luck because using the AMS for this with the dual extruder will greatly reduce the amount of waste that you produce when making this helmet. If you do this in the dual color on a regular AMS, you're going to have a lot of poops. However, you can totally print this helmet if you don't have an AMS. Just print the main part in red, and then you will have to paint the lines in here. Get ready for a lot of painstaking detail painting. You're gonna need some really tiny brushes and some, I would say acrylic paint would probably work best. I've seen people use Sharpies to fill in these lines. But I personally have not ever had a lot of luck with that working. It doesn't really stick to the plastic very well. I have to go over it a few times and it's kind of messy. With the paint, it's one shot and you're done. You just fill in the lines. You don't have to go over it 2 or 3 times. But because this helmet is textured and you really only want the lines to be down in the helmet, you will have to do a lot of masking or taping to get these lines to be perfect, because if you have any of the black on the rest of the helmet, it's going to ruin the final look. So it will be fairly tedious, but it can definitely be done with a lot of patience and a lot of tape. But this helmet is definitely a good example of you send it to your printer, you let it go, and it's done. It comes out beautifully. It's minimal assembly. Glue the eyes in, maybe put some magnets or just glue the back panel on. And if you had the dual color print going, you don't have to do anything else with this helmet. It is extremely easy. If you don't have the AMS, you're in for a little bit of work, but it can definitely be done. It will still be a beautiful and amazing Spider-Man mask when you're finished. Hopefully this video inspires you to build your very own cosplay helmet. And if you're going to choose something by Budwin, there are a ton of options to choose from. Remember to align your magnets properly and get creative. Switch up your filaments, experiment with colors, and swap in different materials. You never know what you're going to get. You can even paint or texturize these by using acrylics or spray paints, or even Flex Seal. It's really fun and you don't know how it's gonna look, so experiment. Add your own flair. Don't be afraid to try it. That's gonna do it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing. Let me know in the comments below what you're dressing up as for Halloween. Next week, I'm gonna be building a really fun, nostalgic, and ghostly playset, so come back for that one. And I promise that I will do another reaction video in the near future here. I'll see you on the next one.